Alright, welcome to my full review of the Nokia 8.1/X7. I'm posting this review a bit late than I promised in my original unboxing video, so I apologize for that if I took a bit too long. But I did spend around 6 to 7 days with the phone before I had to send it away. And within that time I spent with the phone, I could experience it in full and overall give you a full review. Also, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me. Alright, so this review is going to be broken down into parts as listed on the screen like this. I'll be covering all the main areas, as you can see, that's important for a smartphone, and I'll give you my final conclusion or opinions at the end. Alright, now let's jump right in. It's for many years to come, so just let's have a quick go around of the phone. We have our volume rocker up here on the right side and the power button over there. There's no dedicated camera key. The two cameras over here, the flash, fingerprint sensor, Nokia logo, Android One logo. Let's go to the other side. SIM card tray with where the SIM ejector tool goes here. It's a hybrid slot with a memory card. Headphone jack, which is great. Like, this phone does not have any IP water resistance and stuff like that. I think this is an extra speaker. This is this is a microphone, a sound cancelling microphone for background sound. Let's go to the bottom. There's another microphone here, and you got your speaker grill, USB-C, and yeah, that's a quick go around of the phone. Okay, so firstly, let's talk price. Now, since this phone is not officially available in the US, it's still a kind of a gray area as to where the price will be, but I expect it to be between $350 to $400, maybe around the price range of the Google Pixel 3a. I got it for $375 off a third-party seller on eBay. So if you're okay getting it off eBay, you can get it for around $375 off eBay. Or if you're willing to wait, that's okay, but I'm assuming it'll be around $350 to $400 in the US. Around in Europe, it's probably around 340 to 370 euros. And in Asia, well, the prices fluctuate quite a lot, and I found it to be in India around 18,650 Indian rupees. But again, in the West, the prices are a bit in a gray area as it is not officially launched in the US as of yet. As for pricing score, I'll give this phone a 9 out of 10, as when you see in the rest of this video, this phone is priced very well for the specs you get with it, and as a side note, this phone won GSMARENA's Phone of the Year 2018 for mid-range smartphones. Okay, now moving on to build quality. The phone features a front and back glass as well as an aluminum frame. I cannot confirm if the glass is Gorilla Glass because I couldn't find any proof for it online, so I'm assuming it's not. So a few Chinese manufacturers actually went that route to give Gorilla Glass at this price range, but I don't think Nokia has done that. But that's okay. The phone feels really premium. It feels like a higher end smartphone. It's well built. It doesn't feel uncomfortable in the hand. It fits well in pockets and feels very sturdy. The phone is also capable of being used in one hand, as you can see here. But I can imagine that people with smaller hands will find it slightly harder to use. Nevertheless, if you have medium-sized or larger hands, you're going to be able to use it with one hand with no problem. I'll give this phone a 9 out of 10 for its build quality and feel, as this phone feels really good and it feels more than what you pay for, feeling overall like a higher end smartphone. Alright, so now let's talk about the thing we're always looking at, the display. Now with this phone, we don't have any AMOLED or OLED technology, it's just your standard IPS LCD. It's 6.18 inches with around an 81 to 82 screen to body ratio. The resolution is 1080 by 2280 pixels with a 19.9 aspect ratio, which will give you around 408 pixels per inch, maybe 408 to 410 pixels per inch. The display is nothing spectacular, but it's not bad either. The colors are towards the brighter side, and some colors seemed a bit artificial to me, but also they don't really bother me. I've used a Galaxy S5 at one point, and that's an AMOLED screen. It reminds me of the Galaxy S5's display, and that was an AMOLED display, as I remember. So it shows that how IPS technology has come a long way to compare to older AMOLED displays. But as a final conclusion, the display is nothing spectacular, but it is not bad either. Overall, it's a good display for content, for watching content, watching YouTube videos. The 19.9 aspect ratio will do well. Gaming on it also looks great, but again, like I said, nothing out of the ordinary. Overall, I'd probably give the display maybe an 8 out of 10. Okay, moving on to performance, we have a Qualcomm Snapdragon 710 as its processor. This chip is based off the 10 nanometer process. It's an octa-core with 2.2 GHz on 2 cores and 1.7 GHz on the other 6 cores. It features an Adreno 616 as its GPU. Nokia offers the phone in two variants. That's the one with 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of internal memory, as well as one with 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of internal memory. The one I have here is the 6 gig 128 version. So as you can see on screen, the performance is pretty impressive. It did not stutter even once when I was using it. Maybe the camera app took a bit longer to open when I had a lot of apps open in the background. But then again, we're looking at a mid-range budget processor. The 710 is not meant to be a high-end processor, and it is where it's supposed to be. But overall, the performance is great, as you can see in this video on screen here. And that is even more supported by the Android One stock experience. This is a 100% stock Android phone and will be updated for many, many years to come. So expect good continuation of good performance for a couple of years to come. And overall, this phone performs very nicely. It's very fluid, and it's not something that is to disappoint. I'll give this phone, in terms of performance, around 8 out of 10. Alright, now let's talk OS/UI. The phone ships with Android 9.0 Pie, which is the latest as of 2019, as of when I'm uploading this video, and is a partner of the Android One program, meaning you'll get around maybe 3 to 4 years of updates. I'm not really sure how long, but I'm guessing around 3 to 4, because the Android One program, I believe was launched to rival Apple's updates for supporting phones for a very long time. The basis of it is that whenever Google comes out with a new update, they're able to push it out to the Android One phones immediately after it's done being developed. When in the case of other manufacturers, the Google has to send the update over to them, and then they have to put their skin on top of it, and then they push it to their customers. But in this case, Google can directly send the update to your smartphone. So the performance, like I mentioned in the performance section of this video, on this stock Android build is very, very snappy. It's very fast. I did not feel any form of lag whatsoever, and you're basically gonna get a 100% stock Android experience. So if you're into that kind of thing, this is a phone for you. For OS and UI, I'll give this phone an easy 10 out of 10, as it's an Android One phone featuring many years of updates, and it's a 100% stock experience, which I absolutely love. Alright, it's time to discuss cameras. The phone features a dual camera setup as seen here, where one camera is a 12 megapixel f1.8 aperture shooter, as well as a 13 megapixel telephoto lens. The lenses are by Zeiss, as seen here, with dual LED dual tone flash, and the camera is capable of shooting video at 2160p at 30 frames per second, as well as 1080p at 30 frames per second. The front-facing camera is a 20 megapixel shooter with an f2.0 lens and is nothing out of the ordinary. Now moving on to some samples taken by the rear camera during the daytime. And as you can see here, there seems to be some after processing on these images, so if you're looking for a phone that outputs raw image files, this phone is not the one for you. Here are some nighttime images that I took, and the lighting is okay. I mean, for this price range, you really can't expect much, but the photo's clear and the features are recognizable. So it's a decent night shooter as well. And here are some video samples that I took during the day, and I don't have any video samples as I forgot to take them at night. So I apologize for that. So as you can see from those samples, the phone has a decent camera, but it's nothing remarkable. The video I personally thought could have been made a bit better. It felt a bit too grainy and unstable for me, but that may be just me. But this is where the Google Camera app comes in. And what the Google Camera app is, it's the stock camera app on Google Pixel phones. And through the efforts of some developers, it is now being able to be installed on other Android phones, which includes the Nokia 8.1. So how are we going to install this? First, you have to go to XDA developers or many other sites that have the app for download. I'll link one down below. You download the app. Well, it's technically an APK. You download the APK and install it on your phone, and trust me, it makes the camera much better. It brings out all the potential out of the camera, and it's for you to use. The installer is specific to your phone, so if you have an 8.1, you have to look for the 8.1 installer, but then again, like I said, I'll link it down in the description so you can install it yourself. I did not have time to install it on this phone, but I have done it to a Motorola G7, and I saw the difference, where the camera went from good to great really fast once that app was installed. So I'd highly recommend installing the Google Camera app for your Nokia 8.1. For camera performance, I'll give the phone a 7 out of 10, but that is only because it's running the current camera application that it was shipped with. But I can assume that if the Google Camera app was installed, it'll easily be jumped up to an 8 or an 8.5. Now let's discuss the fingerprint scanner. The phone features a backwards-facing fingerprint scanner. It's of a circular design, and these are the speeds of me unlocking it a couple of times, as you can see here. Obviously, since it's backwards mounted, the phone will not be able to be unlocked if it's laying flat on a table, so that you'll have to stick to the standard unlocks like the pattern or the keypad. But overall, I'd give this fingerprint scanner maybe an 8 out of 10. It's not the fastest, but it's way faster than the iPhone 7's fingerprint scanner that I currently use. The Nokia 8.1 is not confirmed to have any form of water or dust protection, so it is advisable to keep it away from dusty areas or wet conditions. It may be able to handle maybe a spill or two, but that is not recommended, and the phone is not meant to be immersed or exposed to even light amounts of water. Despite not having Gorilla Glass, the phone does have an NEG glass, which is Nippon Electric Glass. It's a hardened scratch-resistant glass, which offers some protection towards scratches and other forms of damage. As for a protection score, I'll give this phone a 6.5 out of 10, as it does not have any water or dust resistance. The phone features a 3500 mAh lithium-ion battery with fast charging out of the box. The included 18-watt fast charger will charge the phone from 0% to 100% within around 1 hour and 50 minutes. The phone will get you throughout the day, no problem at all, with a bit of battery remaining at night. I started off my day at 6 a.m. with a 100% charged battery, right up to 10 p.m. at night. The phone reached 50% at around 4 p.m. in the evening and continued right throughout the evening and onto the night. And when I got home at 10 p.m., the battery was at 15%. So overall, this phone will give you a day's worth of battery with no problem at all if you're a medium to higher end user such as me. Usage included mainly watching YouTube videos on a mix of 3G and Wi-Fi signals both, with a couple of calls here and there using the standard 3G line as well as the WhatsApp calling feature. I also did some light gaming as well as listening to a lot of music. But overall, the battery, I'll give it a solid 9 out of 10 as it's a very good battery and it'll get you throughout the day, and I can assume that if you're a light user, you could probably get a day and a half worth of use. Okay, so time for a final conclusion and overall score. The phone scored an 8.3 out of 10 when all the scores were taken and averaged, and 8.5 8.3 out of 10 for what you pay for is a really good score. The phone was only slightly let down by its lack of water protection and dust protection and its camera, but like I said, the camera could be made better using the Google Camera app. So finally, I hope this video helped you in your purchasing decision on this phone. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me. And most importantly, feedback in the comments is much appreciated as it helps me grow my channel. So yeah, thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video.